Thank you for listening to the BJJ Brick Podcast. We'll be bringing you Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and good times. We hope to flatten your Jiu-Jitsu learning curve, help you get the most out of your grappling ability, and meet your goals both on and off the mat.
Welcome back, my friends, to episode 88 of the BJJ Brick Podcast. We have an interview today with Eduardo Telles, an article of the week from JujitsuTimes.com, and a quote from our friend Brian Freeman. This is Byron. I'm here with my buddy Gary. Gary, how's it going?
Yes, it is going great. How about you?
Doing good. Happy Father's Day. We're recording this on Father's Day, so Gary's kind enough to take a little bit of time out of his Father's Day and spend it with us.
Ice cream and cooking burgers on the grill.
Nice.
So yeah, we got an action-packed episode. Great interview. We got our friend Brian Freeman again with a quote, and we got a really good article. Yep. Looking forward to it.
Happy to bring Eduardo to the BJJ Brick Podcast. He's been a guy that me and Gary have both been watching for many years, and just fascinated with his style of jiu-jitsu and what he does on the mat, and definitely picked up some great tips from him before the interview, and then also got some cool ideas during the interview. So that was good. I'm sure everyone will pick up on that and learn a few things from him as well. So very, very fun time interviewing Eduardo. Just reminding everybody again that if they want a little bit more BJJ Brick action, they can sign up for the email list. We send them a link in the show notes every Tuesday to their email address, and that way they'll have them hot and fresh. And
just like donuts, hot and fresh.
Yep, a day late is if you really wanted to.
You don't want the day late donuts.
No, the podcast comes out on Monday, but we send out the email on Tuesdays. I always figured if something went wrong on Monday, I'd have a day to fix it before our friends on the email list got it. But so far, so good. You know, been fortunate.
Never missed a Monday. You're pretty impressive feat right there.
Yeah, it's. I can hardly believe it. I have a feeling that someday it'll break, but that's okay. You know, it's like anything. You get back up and get back on your horse.
Yeah,
get back on the mat.
Hey, that should be our quote of the week.
I think Brian got us a better one than that, Gary.
Definitely.
So we better stick with his. And but if you want to hop on the email list, we'll be happy to send you an email every Tuesday, reminding you about what's on the show and kind of what's going on with any show you might have missed recently. And just go to the website, bjjbrick.com, or our Facebook page, Facebook.com/BJJBrick, and we'll be happy to get you signed up for the email list.
Yeah, we've heard some of our new listeners there. I see Charlie Brooks started listening to our podcast and says he really enjoys it. So welcome, Charlie. We appreciate you listening. And as always, if you want to support the show, Byron puts a lot of time into this. Actually, I don't, but Byron does. But a little bit of money too. But Byron has an audio book. It's only $11.99. It's basically to support the show, and it's basically a roadmap, guiding you through your first year of jiu-jitsu. Getting a lot of positive reviews. Check it out. You'll definitely learn something from it. As always, as I tell you every week, Byron's a great instructor. Has taught me a ton. So definitely check it out.
Yep, check it out on the website there. It's got 6 chapters, everything from finding your first gym to what to do in your first month and all the way to competing in a tournament. So just take you through your first year and help you smooth out the mats, You don't want lumpy mats.
And speaking of your first year, you talked about finding a gym. We got a good article that kind of goes in, can help first year person out, or anybody who's rolled for a while. So kind of almost goes with finding a gym here.
Yeah, it's very similar, and we're building the suspense in that one. Like what's it going to be about? That's our articles from JujitsuTimes.com, and go to their Facebook page and like it, because they always have like awesome articles that pop up all the time. So that's one thing that's one of those pages that's always in my feed, and I'm always reading what they put up.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I love Jiu-Jitsu Times. There's always a ton of great stuff on there. It's that and Breaking Muscle are the two I think I check out most, and we've had Sam Spiegelman on numerous times. But Jiu-Jitsu Times and Breaking Muscle are the two places that seems like I get a lot of articles from and get a lot of great information.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much information out there that's good for you, but it's nice to have it in your news feed and ready to go.
Or when I really need answers, I just call up Byron and ask him a question. Works great.
You're the only person that does that.
You should feel privileged.
I remember that Tuesday. That was a long time ago. Gary, let's roll our quote from Brian Freeman, and we'll get on with the show. What do you think?
It's ready. Let's go, Brian.
Something that Hickson Gracie said, that the goal of jiu-jitsu is not victory, it's to be undefeated. It's to not lose. And, in competition, that may not be, what your goal is, but, you can't lose sight that it's a self-defense art. It's something that we take into the street every day, and, you never know what's going to happen. You never know who might come at you and want to take your wallet from you, or whatever the case may be. So it's definitely something that, for me personally, is something that I carry out in the street every day, and that really rings true in my mind. It's not about, beating up or whatever, however you want to put it, an attacker. It's about neutralizing it, surviving, coming home to your family. And I'm probably not quoting it exactly, but that's the saying that's been in my head a lot lately.
Yeah, it reminds me of it's a self-defense, not a self-offense. You're working to survive the situation and to not lose.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah.
It's a saying that I not only take out with me, but it influences my training. Should I do this move? Should I really get proficient at this move, because it leaves me exposed to get elbowed in the head or the back of the head, or so it always plays into my mind of where I'm exposed and what I need to be doing and what I don't need to be doing.
Cool. That's a good quote. I like that. I don't think we've had that one yet, so that's a good one. The goal of jiu-jitsu is not victory, but it's not to lose. That's, in a self-defense situation, that is the true goal. You're not trying to win. You just want to go home and survive the event.
Yeah, go home, see your family. And at first when he was saying that, I was thinking, boy, you can't win every time. I was thinking more a sport aspect. But when you put it in context there of self-defense, what jiu-jitsu really started out as, and that is true. It's a self-defense art. We want to neutralize the attacker and come home with no broken bones, no injuries. Make it back.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about this a little bit before, but there's a lot of ways to, let's just say self-defense. I mean, there's a lot of ways to lose a self-defense situation and technically win the fight. You could seriously injure somebody, and then that could get you in trouble. You could be sued for that. You could lose your job for this. Depending on where it happened and who it was with. Or there's a lot of things that could happen that would cause you to lose. That would let you win the fight, but actually ultimately lose in life about what happened. So the ultimate goal is not to lose.
Yeah, definitely. And I like what Brian's saying too, where he's like, hey, should I really work on this move and become proficient at it? Because it leaves my head open for elbows. And, he's always thinking, hey, real life scenarios. Yeah, this move may be great on the mat with nobody throwing punches at me, but hey, when this guy is dropping elbows on me, I don't know if this is going to work. Well, I've been in a lot of street fights and matches to the death. I'm 13 and 17 in death matches. But a lot of times out on the street, I'll get the takedown and I'll call out 2 points and, I'll move to the side mount. I'll count to 3 and call out my points. And after I get, up, 10, 12 points, a lot of times I just get up and let them go and just tell them that they got beat.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that well, but it's nice to let them know.
You got to remember to start the timer before the fight starts.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to go over.
Yeah, definitely.
That's rude.
Yep. And then you really don't know how many points you got in the regular time limit.
Hey, Gary, everybody knows you're a level 4 street fighter. Could you give us one tip about street fighting?
I learned a good tip about knife fighting this weekend. It seems like, and I've never really practiced knife fighting, but the guy was telling me that everybody's always trying to stab you. So let's say you got two guys, they're actually trying to hit your torso or hit you in the face or whatever. What he was telling me is that guy goes to stab your torso, just hit him in the arm. stay some distance away. Let him reach for you and take his arm out every time he comes for you. He's like, pretty soon that guy's going to bleed out. So that actually worked out good. I had never had anybody because I thought I'd be trying to stab you in the torso. Next time I get in a knife fight, I'm taking the guy's arms out.
Here's what I got. Start off if you're right-handed with the blade in your left hand, and then you work for a little while, get him tired, and then say, "Aha! I am not left-handed." Like that old movie Princess Bride. Switch to your right hand and then turn it up.
Oh,
would that work? You think?
Yeah, you've already watched some, got some training.
Gary, the music is telling us to keep things on rolling on the show here, so we'll roll on over to jujitsutimes.com.
And the article this week is when rolling with a visitor, be aware of these rules of etiquette. So we do have rules of etiquette in this sport.
Yeah, there's your basic, rules of the gym that everyone should follow. A lot of cleanliness rules, a lot of respect things going on. But it's a little different when you have a visitor come over and how you're going to treat them and try to have their experience be a positive one.
Yeah, and that's the key right there, what you said. Their experience be a positive one.
And also yours to not be hugely negative, like, go home injured.
Yeah. Nobody wants to get injured.
One of the rules that they list here is that not everybody follows the same rules as you do. And that's just more like a precaution, just the heads up. Not everybody's going to follow your same rules, so kind of be ready for that.
Yeah, leg locks, cranks. Some people are okay with it, some aren't. Number 2, just because someone is of a higher rank doesn't render them immune to injury. Basically, anybody can get injured. Just because a guy walks in with a black belt and you're a white belt does not mean you cannot injure that person. Everybody's susceptible to injury, and we definitely don't want to injure anybody.
Going down the list here, the third rule that they have is talk to the person before rolling with them. Maybe they want to focus on something specific. Make them feel welcome. I think that's a big one, just to talk to them. If you don't know somebody and you're about to roll with them, you probably should have at least gotten their name and had like a small, sentence or two conversation, about where, ask them where they're from. That's real easy to do, or tell them where you're from if you're from out of town, just kind of break the ice a little bit. You're about ready to roll around the ground with a total stranger that is, you're in their gym or they're feeling a little bit uncomfortable in your gym sometimes, and make them feel at home. It's up to you to be a good host.
Yeah, make them feel welcome. Get their name, introduce yourself, and that at the minimum, right there, you're going to make that guy's going to feel a lot more welcome. It's at least got the name. Start rolling and just enjoy the time. What do you do, Byron, with when you're rolling with somebody that you really don't know? Let's just say belts are even. Do you go 100%? Let's say you haven't really talked to them much either, besides getting their name. Do you go 100%? Do you let them dictate the pace? Do you start out slow? Or I think everybody's got a little different ways of doing it.
Everybody does have a little different pace. I've spent a few years developing my side control escapes, and I'm very confident in those. And typically, if I feel like it's going to be, fairly even, or if I have a little bit of an advantage just by guessing, you can't really look at somebody and know, but if everybody's guilty when there's a visitor on the mat. You're rolling with a guy you rolled with 100 times. You're going to kind of glance over and see how they're rolling with your buddy and say, "Oh, okay, I see how good they are." So, generally speaking, I kind of start off kind of slow, and
Me too.
A lot of times I just kind of give them side control, and that may be surprising to them. Like, oh, he had no guard at all, but that's okay. And usually, for me, if I could recover my guard within 10 seconds or so, that gives me a lot of confidence in the rest of the 5 or 10 minutes, how long we're going to go. And it also helps to set the pace. Like, I'm not in here to kill you, but, I will be throwing some moves at you. And it's fine if you do the same, but,
everybody's got to get something out of the roll.
Yeah.
You can't just stay there. You've got to throw some moves at. You've got to go for sweeps, work, your deep half or whatever. So everybody's got to get something out of it.
Yeah. Eduardo gives a great example of growing up. He would train in Sao Paulo and train in Rio, and that was like a tremendous opportunity for him to train with 2 different gyms.
Yeah,
it's just the amount of that you could learn from each one. And it's more than just having those same amount of people in your gym. It's being able to cross-train with those people. And I think long-term, gyms, everybody trains together and they get to know each other's games. The gym kind of has a style that it overall kind of adopts. Everybody has their own things that they do, but everybody's aware of these techniques more than they would be if they trained at a different gym or something like that. So I think, walking into that environment, whether it's you or a visitor walking into your gym, it's a lot of benefit to the visitor to train with this new approach kind of thing. And if you're going to get to train with the visitor, you get their approach, and it's great for you. It's a lot of learning opportunity.
Yeah, and I like they actually talk about that in this article. Far too often they talk about people avoid rolling with visitors. You kind of got your own little clique, and this is a new person coming in. By doing this, you lose out, like you said, and Eduardo said, on losing experience and building new relationships. And not only that, you get to know that guy, and let's say he lives in your town. There's another gym you could possibly train at. Go over to the open mat. You'd feel welcome. You'd know somebody. So definitely everybody you meet, everybody you train with, you're going to learn new stuff. And that's what this is all about, is learning as much as we possibly can, incorporating into our game, and just making ourselves better.
Yeah, and do remember that you are representing your gym when a visitor comes in. And not just like performance-wise. If you're a blue belt and you get a blue belt come in, you don't need to really worry about how good of a blue belt you are compared to them. Show them that you're a cool gym to be at. Show them that you've got some cool techniques to maybe demonstrate on them as you're rolling, if that's available. But just show them that you're a welcoming gym and is happy to have them. And vice versa, when you go somewhere else, you're representing your gym. If any patches are on your gi or wherever city you're from, they see you as that group of people. Or as your instructor that's on your gym, that's on your patch, or, if you got a BJJ Brick key patch, they're going to see you as a listener, of this audience.
And you think about going back to where the article says, make everybody feel welcome. And really, that's what we should do as human beings. But you think about your instructor and you're part of that gym. You want to grow your gym. Who knows if that person just moved to town, if you haven't even talked to them yet. Maybe they're looking for a gym. Maybe they trained in Los Angeles and just moved out here. And that first impression is going to mean a lot. And it's up to you to help grow your gym. It's not 100% your instructor's job to grow that gym. If you want to get better, have a great gym, you need to put time and effort into growing your own gym. And the biggest way to do that is everybody who walks in, you say hi. Go over and introduce yourself. Make them feel welcome. Treat it as your house. Make them feel like they're coming into your house and you want them to feel welcome.
Yeah, having traveled and visited some gyms, it's nice to get to know the people. It's hard to travel and really meet the local people. You meet people at tourist places and you see the tourist things, and then you go to the gym and there's people who just got off of work and who are they're training and love jiu-jitsu just like you do. It's a perfect opportunity to kind of feel the city and feel the culture that's there in that country or city that you're in, and I'll ask them questions like, where should I go to eat? Where's it good? Because they know, you're getting the inside scoop on things. So. Yep,
and who knows? Some of these gyms, they're going to be like, "Hey, come on, we're all going out." So you could just meet some more friends. So jiu-jitsu people, they're pretty good people. The most people I've met are very genuine and would just about do anything for you as long as you come in with a good attitude.
Yep. So there was the article there. I'll put a link to it in the show notes. It's on jujitsutimes.com, and I do recommend that you find their Facebook page and like that as well, and it'll keep your news feed fresh with interesting content.
Well, Byron, I'm at the edge of my seat because I know what's coming up next.
Our interview with Eduardo. So here we go. He is the most interesting grappler in the world.
He once drilled so long, BP endorsed him. When he signs up for a tournament, his opponents typically announce their retirement. His choking game is so strong, every party he attends becomes a slumber party.
Some say keep your friends close and your enemies closer. I have choked all my friends, and my enemies are nowhere to be found. Let the sweat times roll, my friends.
All right, my friends, I'm happy to bring Eduardo Telles to the BJJ Break podcast. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm really glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you, and I know the listeners are excited to hear from you. You're a very exciting competitor, and we've all seen your matches, and looking forward to getting to know you a little bit better and learn from you today.
All right, okay, cool.
Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about where you're from and who you've trained with, and a little bit of your competition history?
Yeah, I started to train, Jiu-Jitsu. I'm from São Paulo in Brazil. My father used to be from Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah.
And so I got family in Rio, so I always keep going back and forward to Rio and São Paulo. And I think this, helped me with Jiu-Jitsu, because I have the opportunity to train in both places. So I started with Fernando Yamazaki, with 17 years old.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Alliance to train with Fabio Gurgel after the purple belt. And then things to start getting more serious. After the black belt, after the black belt, I decided to open the school with my teammate in that time, Fernando Tererê.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to train, more serious about. That's when I kind of start training more than one time per day. I always like to compete, but then when I really start to compete, all the tournaments, that's when Jiu-Jitsu became not just my hobby, but also my job.
That's a great job to have. It sounds like you had a really,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love my job too. It's, I do what I like, so I'm very happy with that.
What was your first school like that you opened up?
Oh man, Tererê was a great, teacher.
Yeah.
And a guy that really likes, with a great energy, and with a great jiu-jitsu, of course, this everyone knows, and it was really fun, to train with him, to have him as a teacher, not just as a teammate. He was very competitive. He was very happy with the things he was doing. He was putting people together. He was helping a lot of poor guys to get into jiu-jitsu. He was coaching everyone. He was leading the team, with a lot of example, because he was still competing, and having good, great results. So it was a great time, everyone in that time used to want to make part of the team. We got people from everywhere. Tererê used to be from Rio. He used to be a carioca, and he was living in São Paulo. And for sure one of the great competitors that São Paulo ever had. And we were fighting all the tournaments,
Yeah.
in São Paulo, everywhere. So I think that's when my jiu-jitsu really evolved a lot,
Yeah. You mentioned earlier on you were traveling a lot and training in two different cities. Did that help a lot, you think, training at two different places?
Yeah, of course, because then you can train with more people. The team was really big in that time, so I had the opportunity to train, with guys like Comprido, guys like Jamelão, Léo Vieira, his brothers, and so many people, so many top competitors, so many good guys, and for sure this helped me so much,
Yeah, that sounds like a good advantage that you had as you were training early on, and it got you off to a fast start, I think.
But I think like the main thing is because it was like really fun, you know.
Yeah.
It was really fun, you know, to train with Tererê, you know, to go to Rio, you know, to meet like guys from the favela, you know, they have like great energy, you know, they so happy they don't have too much, but they, you know, like really happy with what they have, you know, so it was very unique.
Yeah, it sounds like a great time. Could you tell us a little bit about what you do off of the mat?
Off of the mat?
Yeah.
Like, man, off of the mat, I like to surf. You know, I like sports, you know, I like kind of like surfing. I like adventures, you know.
Yeah.
I did also karate even before jiu-jitsu. I like to watch movies, you know. I love movies.
You mentioned adventures. What do you mean by that?
Oh, like, how you say, like, jumping from rocks, you know, like. Oh, like, man.
Wow.
Any like sports that are, you know, like not so common, that how you say, like
the extreme sports or the
extreme sports. Yeah, I love extreme sports.
Wow, that's interesting.
I used to boogie board also. You know, now I'm a surfer.
Yeah.
You know, but I used to boogie board. I used to be a professional boogie board also before jiu-jitsu.
Wow, very. Seems like you just have a lot of athletic ability, and whenever you're going to put that towards, you've gotten good at. Can you think of an extreme sport that you did that you don't want to do again? That was maybe a little bit too crazy.
Oh, like when I was, you know, like younger, that I used to compete in boogie board. I used to. I went to Hawaii many times, you know, and I surfed like really big waves, you know. I don't know if I will be able to do that again. I was, you know, like a little bit more like fearless, you know, than I think I am today.
Yeah,
maybe because I already experienced, you know, like bad things, bad situations, so I'm more careful.
Yeah, that's probably good to be a little bit more careful. Right?
Right.
Don't want anything happening to you out there. If somebody hasn't seen you compete or grapple, could you describe your style to us a little bit?
Oh, my style in grappling?
Yeah.
I try to surprise people, you know. I try to do something they are not expecting. Because then I think, you know, I think that it's easier then you try to do something that people are expecting, right? Because if they are expecting, they can block you, you know, or you will need to use a lot of strength. So I really like to surprise people, to do different stuff, you know, like to flow, you know, like or to use people power against themselves.
Can you give me an example?
I say, like, sometimes I say, you know, like, I'm kind of lazy.
Yeah.
You know, like, my game is a little bit lazy. But I think it's because I like to use other guys' power. I wait for them to react. You know, I push so they react, and I try to flow with their power.
Okay. So if you give a little push, they push back harder, and then you go with that.
Yeah, exactly.
If somebody hasn't seen your style of guard, they might be a little surprised, and that's I think you've surprised a lot of people with what you're able to do with your turtle guard, and your style is full of surprises.
Yeah, turtle guard is a position that people think, you know, like, maybe I'm in a bad situation, but I can rest a lot in that position. You know, I feel really safe. And I can exactly like surprise people, you know, with sweeps. I used to get a lot of like leg locks and foot locks, from turtle also, but then people start to realize that, so it wasn't a surprise anymore. So I started to change my game a little bit. So in these days, I work much more with sweeps from turtle, but also I'm kind of like sometimes not using turtle anymore because people are expecting.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work, and now in these days people know, so it doesn't work so well. So I prefer to do like different things, like half guard. I do well in half guard, even De La Riva, some berimbolo stuff. I really like the scramble.
Yeah.
I like to scramble, and see what happens.
And that's exciting to watch.
Yeah, because I don't know, but I think I'm kind of, I think I can think fast, during the scramble.
And how often does it, if you're in a scramble and it doesn't go well, you're able to go to your turtle guard or to get get something like that and
exactly.
save yourself?
If thing goes bad, and people try to get, I know how to defend, Yeah, that's a good point. I think, my main game, like my main thing is because I know how to defend myself well.
Yeah? You're hard to attack?
Yeah, so so I think that's why I like the scramble,
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm not... how many years ago did you put out your Turtle Guard DVD?
Oh, a long time ago.
Yeah,
right?
that was a cool DVD because it made me think about that position a lot differently than I had previously to watching that, and I really appreciated that.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Could you think of a common mistake for somebody who's maybe a blue belt is trying to learn a little bit of Turtle Guard that they'll be like? What mistake do they usually make?
Oh, they don't protect the neck. They try to look up instead of feeling the position. When they try to look up, they got choked.
So you can't look for your opponent; you have to feel for where they're at.
Exactly, it's more about feeling that and trying to look at him.
And that just takes a lot of practice and a lot of being in that position to get comfortable with that.
Oh yeah, exactly. It takes a lot of chokes,
Yeah, that sounds right. So what? Go back in history a little bit. What belt level were you when you started using the Turtle Guard?
Oh, I started to develop more. I think from the purple belt. After the purple belt, because I did before I used to be more a top guy. More to play on top, but then I realized, all the good guys in Jiu-Jitsu, they have a good guard.
Yeah.
Right? The guys that are very, the guy that has, skills, the little guy that moves so well, they good, playing guard. And then I decided, I gotta have a good bottom game, I gotta have a good guard. And then, I started to go turtle. Because I don't know. I'm kind of flexible, but it wasn't easy for me, to play with my back on the mat.
Yeah.
So I started to sit up, to play more seated guard, and then people start to go to my back. I start to roll, defend. But I remember, doing something from my knee since the high belt, when people put you on your knees,
Yeah.
I remember to let people, kind of get top, go. I remember or trying to go for the guy's leg, and letting people end up on top, and then trying to flip them from the top.
It seems like
I don't know. It was. I think it's natural for anyone, in a hard situation. In a tough situation, the last option almost is like going turtle.
Yeah. When you're on top, if someone's turtled and you're on the top, you know what I mean? What do you look? Are you looking to choke? Are you looking to get on their back? Are you looking to get them to side control? Like, what are you trying to do when you're on top on the offense?
Well, definitely, I'm trying to put the hooks.
The hooks?
Yeah, I'm trying to put the hooks. I go for it. I try to choke, but carefully also, you know. I attack the neck, but carefully. You know, I try more to put the hooks, maybe. The bow and arrow is a great move, you know, to attack the turtle. And what else? And if people try to face me, then I get side control. But I don't. I pull the guy back and try to get side control, you know. But the back position is an awesome position, so I like to stay there, you know, like a backpack.
Yeah.
You know, and take my time.
And how does that change that position with the gi and without the gi? Is there much? Are you doing a lot of different things?
You know, a little, not that much. Even with the gi, you know, I don't think I have like strong grips. So even when I do gi, I don't use the grip that much.
Yeah.
So yeah, my game, it's a little different, of course, but not that much.
What level, if someone's trying to get a game that's somewhat customized, or you know, develop their own style or a couple of their own techniques that work together, what level is a good time for that? You know, blue belt, white belt, purple.
For learning the turtle?
For learning to just find your own game. You know, if you have a white belt, you're going to show them these couple techniques, and you're going to want the white belt to do them the way you show. But at a certain time, you expect the student to kind of make it their own and make it more of an art. What time is that usually develop in a martial artist?
Oh, I think it's like in the purple belt. You know, then you define like, but it can change. You know, there's like, it's in these days there's so many. You know, like good blue belts. You know, like
yeah.
It's or you can, you know, like I said before. You know, until the purple belt, I was more like a top player, you know, and then I decided, I realized, okay, I gotta learn guard, and now I'm more like a guard guy.
Yeah, and it's.
Then I started to, you know, and then I trained some wrestling, and then I became more like top game again. You know, and besides, I like to play guard. If a guy pull guard on me, I will love, you know, because I love to play top also.
Yeah.
I just think, you know, like sometimes takedown is a little bit risky. You know, you can take the guy down, but the guy can take you down also. So sometimes, like most of the time, I prefer to pull guard, you know, to start.
But if they pull guard, you're happy about that, and you're ready to get to passing. I look at the game. You've played a lot. You go into turtle guard, and it seems like there's a big advantage to having a game plan that's easy to get to. You know, you could get the turtle guard like right away. It's not a hard thing to get to. If my game plan is to get to a real tricky guard that it takes a while to get to, or to get to mount or something like that, it's harder for me to get that started. But
yeah, setup is hard, right?
Yeah. So that seems like a great thing that you've developed, and it would be a good reason anybody should work on their turtle guard or a position that's easy to get to. Would you agree to that?
Of course, yeah. The turtle guard is so simple, you know. Like I have like some like how I say, like some big students, like not very flexible.
Yeah.
So they are limited, but so I teach them the turtle and they love, because then they say, oh, okay, now I can, like play bottom. Now I have, like a bottom game. Now I can sweep guys, instead of just be like, like a turtle with the legs up, that they cannot like sweep. So yeah, it's really easy, you don't need to be very flexible. It's so easy, and it's like I said, it's very natural, It's like the last option from people protect is like going like in the turtle position.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and I know when you're first starting with it, it can seem intimidating to be on the bottom in a turtle position, but with some practice, it could be something that you become very good at. You've obviously shown that. What do you do if you're getting ready to compete and it's 10 minutes out? What are you doing to get ready for that? Like right before you hit the mat, are you warming up or are you relaxing?
Oh, I warm up, of course, not too much because then you can get tired, But I like to, like put my heart to beat, a little fast.
Yeah.
And that's it. And keep jumping, but I don't like to warm up too much. Otherwise, like I think I can like waste some energy that I will need during the fight.
Do you have a format of competition that you like the most? There's a lot of the submission only matches. There's regular point jiu-jitsu. There's different formats. Do you have one that you like more than others?
How can I say, like, I like the idea of submissions, but I like the idea of points, even advantages. I lost so many fights in advantages, but I think they are useful. I think, like, I hate, like, short matches, like, right now I'm in the master division, but the thing I hate about the master is because they only give you, like, 6 minutes or even 5. That's horrible.
Yeah, that's very short.
Exactly. I think I love the 20 minutes rules. Like 20 minutes is a good time. Like. But I think if you go like 20 minutes with no points, like it's hard to submit because then people don't care about the points and they just protect themselves. Then it's like. Then it's easy, just to protect yourself and don't care about the points. It's so. I think the good format will be like 20 minutes with points and advantages. Then if points will be allowed, I think like when the guy search for the, like, how can I say? When the guy is scoring points, or the other guys is worried about blocking, the guy from scoring points, the submission shows up.
Oh, I see.
Right? Because the guy is concerned about not trying to let the guy score, points on him, and then, the guy is surprised with the submission. If the guy is not worried about points, he's just worried about submissions. He's worried just about one thing. If the guy is worried about points and submissions, he's worried about 2 things, and then you have more chances to submit.
So maybe, for an example, if you have one hook on my back, and I'm worried about that second hook, so I'm worried about that, and then you just choke me, and that's easier to do.
Exactly. That's why I think in those submission only, like tournaments. There are not as much submission.
That's interesting. I've never heard anybody explain it that way, but it makes sense that you could defend the submissions and you could defend the points, but if you're worried about points, your submission defense might be a little bit down, and you can get caught.
Right?
Yeah, that's very interesting. And people always are changing rules and trying to find the most exciting thing, and maybe somebody will try that out.
Yeah, I think that would be, like the key to get more submissions.
Yeah, and watching some of your matches, it seems like sometimes your style has confused some refs sometimes, and it's hard to tell, what an opponent might be getting points for sometimes. Have you experienced that, or?
Yeah, and another, I don't agree with the rules, like the IBJJF rules.
Yeah.
I don't agree at all, not at all, but I don't agree with, especially because I'm a teacher and I'm trying to, I'm trying to teach my new students, especially white belts, and then you teach the guy, the guy got points for mount position, the guy got points for knee on belly, the guy got points for back control, but the guy don't get points for side control. The students say, "Oh, why I don't have points for side control?" And you gotta say, "No, you don't. You just got points if you pass the guard." So the guy say, "Oh, sometimes I get points when I get to side control, but sometimes I don't get points for when I get side control." So they got confused. And another thing, if the guy is in side control and they flip the guy over, they reverse, they got side control on the guy,
Yeah.
they it's almost like sweeping and getting side control, and they got no points at all. So it's not simple. It will be much more simple if you get points for side control, right? If you get points for, if the guy was on bottom and he get on top, he got points. It doesn't matter from, what position he was. A lot of times I sweep from turtle.
Yeah.
And there's no points, there's nothing, they think, oh, okay, the guy did nothing. and you did a lot.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
it's not simple, it should be more simple, to people understand, and it make more sense also, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people prefer the side control position than even the mount, but you got no points for side control.
Yeah, it's always seemed weird. I always assumed that because they give you points for passing, that you're usually going to pass into side control, but you don't always pass right into side control. Sometimes people pass right into mount, and that
this. I tried to explain this once, for in a meeting of rules in the IBJJF. And I use it as an example myself. And this thing happened with me before, fighting Roger Gracie. I was doing turtle, and then Roger, he pulled me back, and he got my side control, and he didn't score no points.
Yeah.
I was doing turtle, so they think turtle is not a guard, and the guy, pulled me back, grabbed side control, and he got no points.
And he should have got guard passing points for that? Or side control points?
In the IBJJF rule, no, he got no points.
Yeah.
He was right,
Would you prefer, with the side control points, do you still want to give points for passing the guard, so they get guard passing points and then the position also? Or would you just say, just whatever position you get your points, but the guard passing is just how you get those points? Does that make sense?
I understand. If you pass the guard and go to mount position, you get 3 + 4, right?
Yeah,
you get 7 right away.
So you would do,
right?
Yeah. So you would keep that the 3, and then you would add for the however many side control is.
I don't think so. I would be more simple, like mount is 4, side is 3. And of course, if you are in the mount position, you pass the guy's guard.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you are in side control position, of course you pass the guy's guard.
So you don't need to get the points for the pass, you just get the points for the position?
Exactly.
Okay.
The control position is an awesome control position, like then you can attack the guy. Right? So
Yeah.
you get points for the control position. It's like when you go for the guy's back, you get points. It doesn't matter from where you came, If you get there, if you put the hooks, you have a good control, you get the points.
Yeah, and it sounds like you also want to do points for gaining control of top position, whether it's a takedown or a sweep or a reversal from side to side.
Yeah,
control
and if you go from bottom to top, you get points because you did an improvement. It doesn't matter. If it was from if the guy was on top of you in side control, or if the guy was in your guard.
Yeah.
Right? You reverse the guy, you're on top, you have a superior position. Who does not prefer to be on top?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So if
you went, that's why people sweep the other ones, right? If you went from bottom to top, you should get points.
Yeah, that makes sense. It would be interesting because you mentioned earlier when you're thinking about points, it's easier to submit to get caught in something. And maybe somebody who's on the bottom is thinking about that they're going to roll somebody and get points. Maybe there's more opportunity for the top guy to take advantage of that in the transition, and we might see more submissions as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's true.
If you have one of your students that's going to do their first tournament, what advice would you give them before during the training process?
Oh, to know the rules, right?
Yeah.
You got to know the rules. Like, I don't agree with the rules, but I know the rules.
That's good advice, and it's easy to see a lot of white belts and blue belts go out there and not know the rules and either lose a match they think they're going to win or get disqualified or not make some other thing happen to them, and that's unfortunate, and that's a negative experience a lot of times. So that's a good one.
Yeah, so that's the main thing, yeah. Got to know the rules of the game.
What were you like as a blue belt?
In the white and blue belt, it was really tough.
You competed at...
I was really aggressive, I was trying to play more like top. I was not very good with my takedowns, but I don't know how I used to get top.
What would be a good goal for one of your students during their first year of training?
If they really want to be good in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah. During their first year.
Competing. You learn so much in competitions, If you really want to, go to the next level in jiu-jitsu, you got to compete.
And you started competing early on, didn't you?
Yeah. I competed in the white belt. I competed in the blue belt. But I get, like I said, I started to compete more, really after the purple, I think, and even more after the black.
Was it a lot different competing with the black belts? Was it a whole different experience?
Yeah. It's the next level,
Yeah.
You really realize, oh my God. There are amazing people, out there.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun watching you compete with everybody at the black belt level. Could you think of?
Thank you.
Yeah. Could you think of a time, and it could be like a long time ago, something that was frustrating in jiu-jitsu and how you overcame that?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, like you have like hard times, with someone, like with some guy, at your gym that used to beat you in always the same position, but these things make you think, make you change your game, make you learn something, like something better. So it's good to, like put yourself in hard situations, like or even spar good guys, like I think that's how I became good in defending myself. I don't know if was that what you asked? But
yeah, I think everybody's had that experience. They've trained with somebody and they're just hard to roll with. Like they just seem to do everything that just right. And you can't get your game to work well. And to then keep training with that person over the course of time, and you'll start to figure it out, and you'll get better in the long run.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta learn. You gotta start to analyze, the game. What this guy is doing that is like giving you trouble. And yeah, you gotta analyze your game. That makes you think more about. Okay, this thing, like this game, match good like this game, but this game, does not match, this type of game. So you realize, okay, I gotta change my game with this person. I cannot do this. I gotta try something different.
Yeah. Can you think of a person you competed against that you really enjoyed it the most, like one of your favorite matches?
I really like my match with Felipe Pena, the Nogia one.
Yeah.
Was like really amazing. We scrambled a lot, and it was really like, I thought I lost in the end, and then the not the main referees, but the corner referees, like they gave me the point, so it was very, how you say?
Were you surprised?
Yeah, exactly. It was like, like in the end of like I was really tired.
Yeah.
I gave it all, but and I thought, like, oh, it wasn't enough. But then, like the guys, gave me the points, and it was a great feeling.
Wow, that's awesome.
And also in the brown belt, like I remember, it was like a team competition. I was like alliance at that time, and it was like the team competition. It was like brown belts and black belts together.
Yeah.
This type of tournament.
Yeah. Were you competing?
And it was like 5 guys against 5 guys from alliance against 5 guys from Barra Gracie. And like we were like tie on point, like 2 wins for Barra Gracie and 2 wins for Alliance, and I went to like to the last match, to the decision.
Yeah.
And I won for the team, and guys went crazy, was really, and I was a brown belt at the time. I think that's why, that's one of the reasons why, like I got my black belt after that, because I helped the team to win.
Yeah. That sounds like an amazing experience.
Uh-huh.
What year did you get your black belt?
2001.
Okay. Do you have any sponsors you want to mention?
Yeah, I want to thank you very much, like King's Geese. It's an amazing gi, it fits really well, and Czech Republic, It's an awesome brand. You know, they got cool T-shirts. And they supporting me really, really well.
That's good, and I'll put links to those websites on the show notes for everybody to go see and to check them out. What is your website?
My website is 99 written and then the numbers.
Okay, so written out.
So
99.
NINENINE and then number 99.com.
Very good, and that would be a good place to go if they have want to see some techniques or figure out how to train with you. Or
then I have also my how you say, the online training website.
Yeah,
that is the turtlemaster.com.
Very good. It's if somebody wants to get good at Turtle Guard, you're the guy to go to learn that. And we mentioned earlier, a big advantage of becoming good at Turtle Guard is that you could get to that Turtle Guard basically in every match. There's not it's not a hard place to get to, and then you're immediately in the position that you wanted to be in at the beginning of the match, and that's a tremendous advantage. And
yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
kind of, sir. You know, like I start the match facing the guy. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I start facing them, but yeah, it's really easy. You know, when they try to run to your back, then it's the time to turtle.
I see.
But yeah, it's really easy because they try to run to your back like always, right?
Yeah. It's a very interesting game plan, and if somebody wants to learn something from that, that'd be a great resource for them to go and to learn from you.
Yeah, and man, and people are very welcome to visit my gym also in San Diego. You know, I'll be really glad to show anyone, you know, like the secrets of the turtle, man.
Very good. And it's also going to be interesting to see what else you're working on. As you say, you're always looking to surprise people and do different things. So not just Turtle Guard, but with your other techniques you're working on.
Oh, like, you know, we don't put like too many names in the positions,
yeah.
You know. Yeah, I got some crazy moves. I like I like the crazy things, you know, the things that people are not expecting.
That's cool. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we say goodbye?
Oh, like I always tell people, you know, like to be careful, you know, like right now I just twist my wrist, you know, so I'm injured.
Yeah.
You know, and it's horrible to be injured. So people gotta play safe, you know, people gotta be careful to do not hurt yourself and not even hurt the partner.
Yeah, you've got to train safe for you and your partner to keep you both on the mat.
Exactly, yeah, you gotta play safe, man. It's horrible to be injured, you know, and not do what you like. That is jiu-jitsu, you know.
Yeah. So you're off the mat for a little while until your wrist heals?
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm out for 2 weeks. It's not that bad, you know. I just went to the doctor and he say I'm good. I don't need surgery, nothing broke. Okay, so yeah, I'm kind of happy right now.
Well, that's good to hear. I hope you're able to stay busy doing something physical and not too crazy with your adventures, I guess, but something that'll keep you busy. And
okay, yeah, for sure, man. Like I said, I'm getting old. I'm getting more precautions.
Yeah, me too. But it's been a lot of fun talking with you. I really appreciate you getting on the phone with me, and I know the listeners appreciate you talking to us and sharing your story and giving us some good advice.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. And sorry for my bad English, okay? I'm trying to improve, but it's not easy.
Your English was excellent today, I got to say. You did really good.
Thank you so much, sir.
So, all right. Well, thank you very much, and I'll keep in touch with you.
Oh, please. Yeah, I'll be waiting for your visit.
Okay, thank you. I want to thank Eduardo Telles for the interview. Very educational, and it was interesting to hear his story and some of his ideas. You know, when he mentioned that he thinks that some of his points will help submissions happen. You know, and the example was if someone's taking my back and they have one hook in, I have to be concerned about the second hook because that's 4 points for that one leg to move from outside of my hip to inside of my hip. And I also have to be concerned about my neck. And that's that. So I got two things going on. If I'm only worried about my neck, that hook, would be more likely to get placed, and I'll be in a bad spot. But a lot of times the chokes happen in transitions. You know, like look at the black belt chokes from the back. The biggest difference is by the time they're on your back, the choke is already set up and they're already under your chin. You know, when lower levels, you take the back, then you work for the choke. It's just that the transitions are there. And if you're not worried about the points, you're only worried about the submissions, you could fight a tighter defensive game, I think. And he made a good point on that. And I don't know, ultimately, you know, if you were to do 100 matches at one way or the other, what would happen. But it does make an interesting point that sometimes the points could... I'm sure somebody's been submitted because they were worried about that hook and they left their neck open. I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Well, I think about that, too. Like, most of the time I'm rolling, or every time I'm rolling, I never consider points. I'm not a big competitor, so I'm not worried about points. And, like, if somebody gets that second hook in, I'm not as worried. It's like no big deal. But if points were coming, they got that first hook in. Normally, I'm just worried about hand control, keep my chin tucked. I'm going to have to worry about that second hook. I can't give up those points, and it would make submissions a lot easier. I never really thought of it that way. But it kind of goes vice versa, too.
Yeah, but we all want to see guys that are in the top, and gals in the top 10 or 5 or in the area competing, and we want to see submissions, you know. It's an interesting problem to solve.
Is what's fun to watch. And it does seem like here in the last year or so, it seems like submission-only tournaments are really taking off compared to, 5-6 years ago. Yep,
and we just had the Submission Series Pro in Canada, and that was an awesome event. If you haven't seen that, go back and find our episode there and find the link and look online and check out the matches that they had. It was a lot of good action, a lot of great matches. So that was a fun one. Looking forward to them doing it again.
Yeah, we'll get them on again when they have the next series coming out.
If you want to get a gi patch and represent us well, how would they do this, Gary?
All you'd have to do is on iTunes, give us a review, funny review if possible. We like funny reviews. Give us a rating. We don't know who you are based off of that, so then go to our Facebook page, send us a private message there, tell us who you are, tell us you gave us that review, and we'll get you out a patch as long as you live in the United States. And if you don't get on Facebook, send us email, bjjbrick@gmail.com, and we'd be happy to get you out a gi patch.
Absolutely. Or email us that email for anything you want to get a hold of us for. We're always available and happy to hear from our listeners. That's always fun.
Yep, and if you ever out traveling and you make it through the Midwest, we're in Wichita, Kansas. Send us an email. We'd love to get on the mats and train, and we can actually use the article of the week to get to train with some listeners.
Yep, and I'll. We do love rolling with our listeners, and it's always a little bit disappointing when they point me out from the gi patch or from the logo. It's like, man, you're the guy with the big nose. Yep. Dang it. But it's always fun to roll with with people that have listened to us before, and that's always kind of weird and kind of neat. We're still not used to it yet, but we're not like for that big a deal, you know. But we have fun doing the podcast, and we're happy when people enjoy listening to it and get to train when we get to train with each other. That's good times.
Yep, and then as always, don't forget about getting on our email list. That'll give you a reminder every Tuesday with the show coming out. And don't forget about Byron's audiobook. It's only $11.99, and it's a roadmap there for your first year through Jiu-Jitsu.
Yep, and Gary's coming out with a new audiobook, Street Advice for the Sassy Streetwalkers. So that should be coming out soon.
I'm working on it right now, and it's actually going to be a free book.
It's going to be free. He's just trying to get the message out to the most people possible and share his many years of experience.
Never pull guard with a streetwalker.
He's got a lot of knowledge. So we're looking forward to that happening. All right, my friends. It's been a lot of fun. We look forward to getting us back in your ears in a week.
Yep, thank you for listening.
Stay sweaty, my friends.
And don't forget to shower.
Thank you for listening. I hope you find the time today to roll. After all, the best way to get better at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.